Okay, so our final presentation for this transcript is from Professor Stella Barthet, who will be talking about her project about rising.
Right, there is a website you can find more or less like a background. So, that's it, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vincent, for giving me the idea of putting up our website as well, because our website is also still active. Our project took place between 2016 and 2018, so it was pre-COVID, right? And it was also pre-Brexit, which has made a great deal of difference. In fact, my colleagues and myself are working on thinking of how we're going to pitch the next project, because I am from the Department of English. We have one Department of English at the University of Malta. We always had a very intensive association with departments of English in the UK, and that is, something that we need to maintain, in Brexit or no Brexit. We had it before our entry into the European Union, before we could make use of EU funding, and it is something that we need to sustain, and in fact we are thinking of ways in which we can sustain our relationship with departments that have English as a first language in particular, because if we have an edge over other European universities, it is this edge that our long association with Britain, in fact, gives us. Of course, Britain is not the only country at the moment. For example, my colleague and myself are working on establishing new partnerships with Ireland, because, of course, in our case, it is really important. Of course, English is not the only area where this strong association between universities is important, because we find that even in medicine, for example, here in Malta, our links with Britain are indeed very important. So our subject is literature, right? We teach, we as a Department of English that is of a high level of teaching. We don't teach language, in fact. We teach either linguistics, or we teach literature, or we teach theory, but we don't teach language, because the students entering the Department of English are already fully fluent, already have a C1 level of English. So, when we thought of, we were given two rounds of funding. The first one in 2012, and the second one in 2015. Right? So, and in both cases, the funding lasted 2 years. The projects we presented were similar in that they focused on the literature of the Mediterranean. And so, we were attracting students and academics who were both familiar and distant from the Mediterranean to focus on this area of the sea, right? Before we had actually heard of before there was the European University of the Seas. So, the idea of the Mediterranean, and Malta, of course, is very well placed to host this kind of literature, to host the study of this region. I think we wanted to present Malta as a key place, right? Also a key place for the study of English, right? Something that we want to that becomes even more important, I think, after Brexit. So we had scholars and students, people coming from different disciplines, comparative literature, history, cultural studies, film studies, art, philosophy. We were not attracting only people who were from other departments of English, but other arts department in we were a partnership of 7 universities in all. We had University of Goldsmiths as our major partner. Because it was the University of Goldsmiths that gave us something that wouldn't have been available, we would not have otherwise had for the University of Cagliari and Florence in Italy, Nova Gorica, we had Minho in Portugal as well, and we had Carthage, the Carthage University in Tunisia. And that was very, very enriching as well, to have someone from a partner country, not an EU country, but to have Tunisia, in fact, really, really strengthened this Mediterranean approach. And one of the ways in which the project was focused in trying to show not only the people involved, not only literature students, but also beyond how literature is connected with society. And of course, the practical ways in which literature can influence society was very, very important. So, we were selecting, apart from classics dealing with this particular area, but also many works of literature and even paintings and films focusing on migration, for example, racism, xenophobia, ethnic and religious conflicts in the Mediterranean, of which, of course, there are very many both in the present in the Mediterranean and also over the past many centuries. So, our responsiveness, we can say, to social and cultural diversity is what we wanted to emphasize, both to the participants of the project and beyond. Now, the participants were postgraduate students from these 7 universities in all, and we came together, students and lecturers from all the group, all with our specializations, so that we could bring together the best specialization in order to have this course in literature. We had it in the form of a spring school on all those occasions, right? We had this over 4 times, in fact, taking in the 2 occasions on which we were funded, and we held the lectures over a 2-week period. This is because, of course, we used the money that was allocated to the project to bring over the staff and the students, right? The staff and the students. If, for example, you go on the events, and you go on the 2010 dating, for example, there, you might be able to see, you can not on the lecture program, if you go beyond, below from here, from the sidebar, you can come to some other pictures. There we are, these are some of the students that participated in the lecture program. After the lecture program, we set the dates in order to coincide with the postgraduate conference that our department holds every year. So at the end, the students were able to talk about their learning experience, and of course to enthuse other students to focus on Mediterranean literature and to take up this idea. In the meantime, we also created a course, an ECTC bearing course, right, run by our department, carrying 10 ECTS like the rest of the other courses. And the students who participated here were able to take this, to register for the course and eventually write an assignment, a 6,000 word assignment like the other modules of the MA, and be awarded the 10 CTS along with, of course, a grade. After the lecture program, you can see that the group together, not all the group, of course, a part of the group, and the participation even of the Tunisian students, which was a very valuable dimension. You know, we learned a great deal, in fact, from this the inclusion of a university from Tunisia. They had, you know, the approach was very different. If you can use the sidebar to go down a little bit further. Ah, yes, yes. Because the Maltese students, of course, had not gone to a different academic background. Instead, what we did, we made use of the funding allotted to them to take them to Goldsmiths. We took them to Goldsmiths in June, right, where they participated in seminars and also participated in a conference organized by the Goldsmiths Department of English and Comparative Literature Studies. And their participation there, of course, and their studying in this different academic program was also very, very valuable. We also made use of the time to allow them to give them time to visit London libraries, and they were able to carry out some research for their longer research projects. Here in these seminars, they were talking about their longer MA proposals, right? So we use that as a seminar in order to discuss their work. To start out on a project like this, I think the first step is to find partners, right? Because it is according to the partners that you will eventually be able to put together, on the strength of those departments, then we were able to build the program. We were able we sought out, basing ourselves on these long-established relationships we have not only with English universities, but with many other universities too. Europe, in order to find people whose work showed that they would be able to contribute to this study, this focus on Mediterranean literatures. The work, as in fact Vincent pointed out, is mostly, you know, in the hands of the people who put in the proposals. And for this, I really have to thank. Today, it is two offices. It is both the research support services and the project support office, because they were helpful from beginning to beyond the end, right? And I really mean beyond the end. Because at the beginning of the, you know, while we were still working on this project, we became aware of what the reality of Brexit would mean for the Department of English. And my colleagues and myself decided to put aside money that would have paid us for our work, right? The money was there, it was available for us to be paid for our services, right? Myself for managing the project, my academic advisors, Professor Ivan Kandus, Professor James Corby, right? And that money at the end of the project, thanks to the project support office, has now been given to our department. 20,000 euros, right? Which is a great windfall for us. You know, because this is what will help us even to ensure that we can continue to be the Department of English that makes such a project even possible. Because if we didn't have, right, these relationships that even as we speak, we have also forged with Ireland that luckily remains in the European Union, right? We simply would not have had much to offer to these universities from Italy to Portugal, Nova Gorica, Tunisia, right? It is that which I think gave us this edge, right? That makes us still even now have the ambition to make the Department of English a center for English studies in the Mediterranean, right? And of course, the University of Malta to have this positioning that we have made the best use of. I think that this is more or less what I have to say, but if you have questions that I might be able to answer, you are of course very, very welcome. Okay, and the website is still active. You can see more information in the joint report, for example, right? And in everything else. Okay?
Thank you, Stella.
Thank you.